As we continue with this next lecture, I wanted to talk to you about some of the books that are out there from those times. And one of them is the Kybalion. The Kybalion was first published in 1908 by the Yogi Publication Society in Chicago, Illinois, and it's not in the public domain, as well as circulating through the World Wide Web. As a matter of fact, I think I had a free copy from the internet. It is based upon ancient Hermetism and philosophies, and it has some of the surviving ideas that have come all the way from Egypt, Ifsina, and all of the other philosophers that we talk about. There was a new thought movement in the early 1910s, and a lot of them used the Kybalion. This book makes a claim that its appearance in one's life will make it when the time is appropriate for the person, and includes axioms and insights similar to those found in the book of Proverbs. So if you go online and find the Kybalion now, at least you know what it is. I do believe they have a very beautiful, a little bit expensive in Barnes and Noble's copy that you can purchase if you're curious about what things are there, and it's very interesting, and it has a lot of deep philosophy and teachings. Now there are 7 principles that are covered in the Kybalion, and also these are some of the principles that you might see in some of the New Age work, such as The Secret, or also there are a lot of the New Age, even doctors in today's world that are talking and reading and writing about this. The principle of mentalism, the principle of correspondence, the principle of vibration, the principle of polarity, the principle of rhythm, the principle of cause and effect, and the principle of gender. All of these principles seem to be what harmonizes a human being or a person, and it is said that if you follow these 7 principles, then you will find harmony not only physically but also spiritually. So let's find some more about these 7 principles and what they really mean. So the principle of mentalism embodies the idea that all is mind, that everything happens for a reason, that this has to be a result of a mental state which precedes it, which I kind of believe that, right? For anything that exists, thoughts have to form first, which then form physical reality or manifestation. And it says that your thoughts are seeds, and plant positive seeds in your mind garden. A principle of correspondence, for example, is when it expresses the idea that there is always a correspondence between the laws of phenomena of the various planes of being and life. One of them is the already known first law of Hermetics, which is also part of different religions, such as the Wiccan culture, for example, the as above, so below, as below, so above. However, different religions interpret that differently. What we offer here is the Hermetic teaching as it is taught from texts from 5,000 years ago. You must have heard something similar. This principle states that there is a harmony which can be made, agreement and correspondence between these planes, the 7 planes. The principle of vibration, this is one that is actually really, right now, is a new age thing. There's a lot of light healers, and I have actually learned this through massage therapy when I became licensed, and it can be applied for healing. And it is true that they have found out that there's different vibrations for different organs in the human body. So this expands the idea that motion is manifest in everything in the universe, that nothing rests and everything moves, vibrates, and circles. This principle explains that the distinction between manifestations of matter, energy, mind, and even spirit are the result of only different vibrations that we produce and that we receive. The higher a person is on the scale, the higher the rate of vibration will be, and supposed to be the most harmonious one. Here, the all is said to be at an infinitive level of vibration, almost to the point of being at rest. There are said to be millions upon millions of varying degrees between the highest level, the all, and the objects of the lowest vibration. It is also believed that humans can create their own vibration by balancing their interior energies, and later on we're going to be talking about vibration and chakras. Mental transmutation is described as the practical application of this principle. To change one's mental state is to change vibration. One may do this by an effort of will, by means of deliberate fixing the attention upon a more desirable state. And you can see that there are also books in Barnes and Nobles and online, Books a Million, that talk about healing, that we can heal our body, that we can heal ourselves. The mental transmutation is part of that teaching. The principle of polarity, this is a very old one that is present in almost every faith and religion in the world. It embodies the idea that everything is dual, everything has two poles, and everything has its opposite. And this is, in the Christian culture, is more seen as, good or bad, or black and white, but really that's not the real meaning of the idea of duality or polarity. All manifested things have two sides, two aspects, or two poles. Everything is and isn't at the same time, and all the truths are about half-truths, and every truth is all half-facts. So there are two sides to everything. Opposites are identical in nature, yet different in degree. Extremes meet, and all paradoxes must be reconciled. So it is just a difference of a level of energy, not so much a negative or positive connotation. The principle of rhythm expresses the idea that in everything there is a manifested measured motion, a to and from, a flow or inflow, a swing backward and forward, like a pendulum, like movement. That there is rhythm between every pair of opposites or poles, and is closely related to the principle of polarity. And I have actually learned this through counseling of couples, in which the principle of rhythm and also the cause and effect go kind of hand in hand. You can be seeing that this principle enables transition from one pole to the other, and not necessarily poles of extreme opposites. The principle of cause and effect, which I learned the first time I learned this, I obviously learned through the theories of Isaac Newton. And it explains that there is a cause for every effect, but not in the mechanical sense, like we will study in modern physics, but there is an effect for every cause also. It states that there is no such a thing as a chance. That chance is merely a term indicating extant causes that are not recognized or perceived. So that means that when we take a decision, we're not only perceiving everything that's going to happen, we're only perceiving the most immediate cause. The principle is clarified in the chapter of causation, so we'll study later on a little bit more about that. And the principle of gender. The principle of gender embodies the idea that gender is manifested in everything. This does not relate explicitly to the commonly understood notion of sex, but rather to generate, to procreate, or to produce in general. So gender manifests itself in all planes as feminine and masculine principles. It has nothing to do with what we will understand by sex or gender. It's more of a mental gender, and this is described as a Hermetic concept which relates to the feminine and masculine principles. It does not refer to someone's physical sex, nor that it suggests that someone of a certain sex necessarily has a matching mental gender. Ideally, one wants to have a balanced mental gender, and we know that in you study medicine, we know that it is actually that we both have male and female characteristics. It's just a female has more female characteristics than a male does, for example. The concept put forth in the Kybalion states that gender exists in all planes of existence, so physical, mental, and spiritual, and it represents different aspects on different planes. Everything and everyone contains these two elements or principles. The feminine principle is always in the direction of receiving impressions and has a much more varied field of operation than the masculine. The feminine conducts the work of generating new thoughts, concepts, ideas, creativity, and imagination. The masculine principle is always in the direction of giving out, expressing, and contents of itself with the will and its varied phases. It is said that there must be a balance between these two forces. Without the feminine, the masculine is apt to act out without restraint, order, or reason, resulting in chaos. The feminine alone, on the other hand, is apt to constantly reflect and fail to actually do anything, resulting in a stagnation. With both the masculine and feminine working in conjunction, there is a thoughtful action that breeds success, which points out that both feminine and the masculine fulfill each other. I hope that you enjoyed this part. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about vibration and matter.